I quietly supported my family for years, but they made a group chat calling me the walking wallet. When I left, they faked a mental breakdown to fundraise. You gave us nothing? Fine then. I found out my entire family had a private group chat titled Strategy Room for Handling Jude, while I was fixing my nephew's busted laptop, which I paid tuition for in the first place. I don't even know where to start. It was late on a Thursday. I'd just come home from a long night shift at the local audio studio where I work. My feet were killing me, my head was pounding, and all I wanted was a shower and sleep. But I had promised my sister I'd take a look at her son's old laptop, the one that keeps freezing during online class. She was too busy to take it to a shop. So once again, it fell to me. Jude, 27, audio tech in a sleepy Oregon town, an unpaid family tech support/bank account. I powered it on, reset the system, and was about to wipe some old files when I saw the auto login for Messenger pop up. I hesitated, then froze. The group chat name said, Strategy Room for Handling Jude. I blinked, thought I was reading it wrong. Then I clicked in. The first message I saw was from my sister Clara. He's easy. Just act upset and he'll open his wallet. Then from my mom. Just keep texting him sweet stuff. Make him feel connected. Poor kid has no one else. He'll pay just to feel needed. And then my dad chimed in. Don't mention the house title. He doesn't know it's still in his name. Better if he thinks it's just a favor. My chest went tight, but I kept scrolling. The latest message punched me harder than anything else. He has no friends, no girlfriend, no one but us. We're all he's got. Just give him crumbs and he'll keep paying. I closed the laptop gently. My hands were cold. My brain felt like it had short-circuited. Growing up, I was always the quiet one. The good kid. I didn't get in trouble. I didn't fight back. I just helped. When everyone else moved away or gave up, I stayed. I took on night shifts to save money. I patched the roof on my parents' house. I paid for my nephew's and niece's school supplies. I covered my grandma's medical bills when insurance didn't. No one ever asked directly. They just sighed, dropped hints, said things like, we're in a bind. And I would say, I've got it. I thought that was what family did. I texted the family group chat every Sunday morning. I remembered every birthday. I called my mom every Monday evening just to check in. She'd barely talk, but I figured maybe she liked hearing my voice. Now I know she was probably switching apps to send messages in that other chat. Strategy Room. I didn't sleep for 3 nights, not because I was angry, but because I realized I had been nothing but a transaction to them for years. They didn't love me. They loved what I could give. On the 4th night, I opened a blank Word doc and started listing out everything I had paid for. Tuition for 3 nephews, $64,000. Roof repairs for my parents' home, $17,200. Hospital bills for grandma, $12,450. Credit card debt for my sister after her divorce, $4,300. Gifts, groceries, holiday flights, uncounted. Total over $97,000, and not one thank you. The next morning, I printed the list, folded it, slid it into an envelope. Then I packed a single duffel bag. I sold my car for cash. And I booked a one-way ticket to Anchorage, Alaska. No calls, no goodbye. Just gone. You want to know the worst part? 3 weeks passed. Not a single text. Not a single call. No one even asked where I'd gone. On week 4, I got a message. From my sister. Not, are you okay? Not, where are you? Just, hey Jude, Tommy's tuition didn't go through this semester. Are you still managing the account? I didn't reply. I took a screenshot and forwarded it to the group chat titled Strategy Room for Handling Jude. Underneath, I typed one line. Guess it's harvest time, huh? 10 minutes later, my phone blew up. Missed calls from Clara. From my mom. Then my dad. I didn't pick up. I just sat there, staring out at the snowy horizon outside my rented cabin. Then came the voicemail. From my mother. Jude, I don't understand what this is. Families lean on each other. This is dramatic. You're hurting everyone, sweetie. Please come back. Don't let this go further than it has to. That was when it hit me. They weren't apologizing. They weren't sorry. They were scared. Scared I'd stop playing the role. Scared the golden goose had finally flown away. And just when I thought that betrayal was the end of it, I got a link from an old friend, out of nowhere. Hey, is this your family? Thought you should see it. I clicked, and there it was. A Facebook fundraiser posted publicly, a grainy photo of me looking tired and pale from God knows when. A long caption. Our sweet Jude has suffered a mental breakdown and disappeared. We're devastated. He used to support the whole family. We need help to cover tuition, bills, and therapy expenses during this hard time. Thousands of shares, hundreds of comments, people donating. And the only thing louder than my heartbreak was the sound of my silence finally cracking. When I saw the fundraiser, I didn't feel anger. Not at first. I felt disoriented. Like the floor had tilted under me and everything I thought I understood about my family was suddenly upside down. The picture they used was an old one. I remember it now. It was taken at a family BBQ 3 summers ago. I'd just finished hauling chairs and lighting the outdoor fire pit. My shirt was stained with barbecue sauce and sweat. My eyes were hollow from working back-to-back shifts all week so they could have that party in the first place. And they'd cropped everyone else out, just me, alone, with a forced smile and shadows under my eyes. The caption read like a eulogy and a plea all at once. Jude was always the backbone of our family. He's been struggling mentally and financially. After a sudden breakdown, he left without warning. We're devastated. His absence has left a hole, emotionally and financially. Please help us keep our family afloat while we pray for his recovery. I read it twice. Then again, and then I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was perfect. They finally said it out loud. The thing they'd only ever implied behind closed doors. My value to them was always emotional and financial. Not me. Not who I was. Just what I could offer. And now that I was gone, they were using the idea of me, broken, missing, tragic, as a way to keep squeezing money out of strangers. They weren't even grieving. They were profiting. I spent that night pacing in the tiny kitchen of my Airbnb, my heart punching at my ribs. My phone buzzed every few minutes. Donation notifications, screenshots from friends, even a message from my ex-coworker that just said, "Dude, are you okay? I thought you moved to Alaska for a better job." I hadn't told anyone about what happened. I just left quietly. No drama, no explanation. I didn't want to play the victim. I didn't want to be this story. But now they were writing it for me. At 2 a.m., I sat down at the small dining table and opened my external hard drive. Years ago, when I first started helping with my family's finances, I'd created a folder. It was labeled Family Ledger. Back then, I thought it was just for budgeting, for tracking expenses, for staying organized. Now, it was evidence. Inside were folders upon folders. Bank statements, tuition receipts, signed iOS, screenshots of texts, every transaction, every payment, every dollar I'd handed over without a second thought. I uploaded everything to a private Imgur album. No captions, no names, just dates, amounts, and confirmation codes. Then I went back to the Facebook fundraiser, and under a fake account I created that night, I posted a single comment. Before you donate, maybe ask where the other $97,000 he already gave them went. That was it. By the next morning, the post had been taken down. But it didn't end there. Within hours, people started messaging me. Some kind, some suspicious, some angry. One woman said she'd donated $100 and wanted a refund. Another accused me of faking the entire thing, calling me a spoiled brat with no gratitude. A few people offered to pray for me. But one message stood out. It was from a woman named Kelsey, someone I barely remembered. A second cousin, I think. She'd always been quiet at family events. "Hey, Jude, I saw the fundraiser. Then I saw your comment. Just wanted to say, I've suspected something was off for a while. You always gave. They always took. I'm sorry." It was the first time anyone, had said those words. A week later, I got a certified letter in the mail. At first, I thought it was legal fallout from the fundraiser. Maybe a cease and desist. Maybe some kind of warning. But when I opened it, I almost dropped it from laughing. It was a formal request from my parents, typed like a business memo. "We are requesting a family meeting to discuss the breakdown of trust and reestablish mutual responsibilities. Your absence has caused emotional damage and disrupted the financial structure of the household." They wanted a meeting, like we were co-owners of a failed startup. But buried beneath the fake concern and cold wording, I saw the real reason they reached out. They wanted a share of the lake house sale, the house I paid for. The house that was supposed to be a shared family investment but was never used by me. The house I'd kept in my name, and they had forgotten that. Apparently, they believed they had emotional equity. I sent the letter to Daniel, my lawyer. He read it, raised one eyebrow, and said, "Want me to send them a reminder that emotional equity isn't legally binding?" I nodded, and we did one better. He found the original agreement, the one my father had signed years ago, acknowledging in plain text that I was the sole financial contributor and title holder, that he relinquished all future claims. We mailed them a copy. The silence afterward was almost better than revenge. But it didn't last. While Daniel and I were working quietly in the background, planning to sell more properties that technically still had my name attached, My family started panicking publicly. They messaged extended relatives, they spun stories. They even tried to call my boss from the audio studio I'd worked at back home, claiming I was mentally unstable and might endanger himself or others. Thankfully, the guy knew me better than that. But that was the final straw. I called Daniel. Remember when I loaned them money for their mortgage 5 years ago? Yeah. Can we prove it? He paused, then said, already did. You want to file the lien? I didn't hesitate. Do it. By the end of the month, we had filed a legal claim on my parents' main home. Because when they defaulted on their payments, I'd covered it, under a verbal agreement. But I had proof. And now I had leverage. Emma, my cousin, the only one who'd stayed neutral, called me the next evening. 3 days later, Emma sent me another message. Jude, I think you should see this. It's blowing up. Attached was a screenshot. My sister Mia had posted on Reddit. Not using her name, but the story. Unmistakably ours. Only this time, she painted herself as the victim, saying her mentally unstable brother had stolen their family home and left them homeless for fun. And the comments? They were on her side. They're freaking out, she whispered. Your mom called mine crying. Your dad's talking about going public, posting the real story on Reddit. I sighed. Let him. I've got receipts. But what I didn't tell her was that this wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about closure. They had taken everything from me, my time, my trust, my sense of self-worth. And now, for the first time, they were learning what it felt like when the safety net they abused was cut. The first thing I noticed was the username u/miracledaughter91. I would have laughed if I hadn't felt like I'd been punched in the chest. Emma sent me the thread. She didn't say much, just, you need to see this before it spreads more. I clicked. It was posted in a popular subreddit about family drama, tagged with flair. Trigger warning, mental illness, financial abuse. The title? My brother had a psychotic break and is trying to sell our family home out of spite. I don't know how to stop him. It started out calm, even sympathetic. She said I used to be a generous, kind-hearted brother who'd supported the family. She said I changed after moving to Alaska, cut off contact, and suddenly decided to evict our elderly parents, who were on the brink of homelessness. She claimed I threatened legal action over imaginary debts and said I was spreading lies to discredit the people who raised me. And of course, she mentioned the fundraiser, framed it as a last resort to save the family's future. The comment section? It was a dumpster fire. People were raging on her behalf. He sounds dangerous. Please stay safe. Financial abuse from a sibling is still abuse. Don't let anyone guilt you. If he was really helping before, then clearly he wasn't struggling. Now he's just bitter. They didn't know the truth. They only had her version. And it was spreading fast. I sat there in my kitchen, the screen glowing in front of me, my hands clenched so tight my knuckles ached. I had tried to be quiet, to walk away, to cut clean. But they weren't content with silence. They needed to control the narrative. And they knew exactly where to go. Reddit. Because Reddit was where I went when I needed an outlet. When I was breaking inside and too ashamed to tell anyone in real life. She was using my own world against me. But this wasn't a rant post anymore. This was character assassination. On a platform that eats real pain like popcorn. So yeah, I responded. But not with rage. I responded the way they always feared I would. With proof. I created a burner account. u/quietbalance77. I didn't argue. I didn't attack. I posted one comment. Under her post. Hey, I'm the brother in this story. You left a few things out. Here are the documents showing I paid for the house you say I stole. Here's the legal agreement Dad signed giving up his claim. Here's the tuition breakdowns, the medical bills. Oh, and here's the group chat where you all called me a wallet with legs. Let's let the truth speak for itself. Then I linked the Imgur album, the same one I'd built weeks ago. Receipts, transfers, screenshots, signatures, facts. At first, no one noticed. But then the thread exploded. A moderator pinned my comment with the tag, verified source from opposing party. That was the moment the tide shifted. The comments went from, she's so brave to, wait, she left all this out? This is looking real shady now. The group chat is wild. She really said, just keep him thinking he's needed? And then came the real kicker. One of the mods messaged me privately and asked if I was okay with them locking the thread and issuing a statement. I agreed. An hour later, the original post was marked. Removed, misleading story, significant context omitted. But the internet doesn't forget. The next day, I got a call from Daniel, my lawyer. "You're trending," he said flatly. "Not your name, thankfully, but the story. Screenshots are all over Twitter now. People are calling it the $97,000 gaslight." I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The silence I'd wanted had become noise again. But this time, it wasn't silence on their terms. This time, I controlled the volume. That night, I turned off my phone and went for a walk. The air in Anchorage was crisp, the kind that clears your lungs and your thoughts. I stopped by the coffee shop near my place, ordered a hot chocolate, and just sat with it. For a minute, I felt like maybe this was the end of it. And then I got the email. Subject line? "You went too far." It was from my dad. He didn't use my name, didn't say hello, just jumped straight in. "You humiliated your sister. She's been getting threats. Are you proud of yourself? You've destroyed this family. And for what? For ego? For attention? We fed you. We raised you. And you repay us like this? Whatever happens next, that's on you." No apology. No reflection. Just blame. Like always. But this time, I didn't feel guilt. I didn't feel doubt. I felt relief. Because that email proved exactly what I needed. They hadn't changed. They weren't sorry. They were just mad the truth got out. 2 days later, Emma called me again. Her voice was low. "Jude, I think something's happening. Clara, your sister, just deactivated all her accounts. The fundraiser page is gone. Your mom's number got disconnected. It's like they're disappearing." I felt my chest tighten. "Why?" "Because someone reported them. The fundraiser. Said it was based on fraud. There's talk it's getting investigated." "Investigated by who?" She hesitated. "By GoFundMe. And the IRS." I went still. Not because I felt sorry, but because I realized something I hadn't before. They didn't just lie to the internet. They'd lied to the government. And now? Now it wasn't just about me anymore. That night, I got a knock on my apartment door. I wasn't expecting anyone. I opened it and found a man in a dark windbreaker holding a badge. "Jude Carter, I'm with the Department of Treasury. Mind if we ask you a few questions about your sister's fundraiser?" And just like that, it got real. When a federal agent knocks on your door, it doesn't matter how innocent you are. Your stomach still drops. I opened the door slowly. The man flashed a badge. "Jude Carter, Department of the Treasury. We're reviewing some recent complaints regarding online fundraising fraud. May we come in?" I stepped aside. My heart was pounding so loud I could barely hear his partner introduce herself. I offered them coffee. They declined. They didn't need much from me. Just verification. Was the fundraiser real? Had I authorized it? Were the claims accurate? I gave them everything. Timeline, documents, screenshots. I even opened my Imgur folder on the spot. The male agent clicked through it silently. The female one jotted notes. When they were done, they exchanged a look. The kind that says, "Yep, this is worse than we thought." "We'll follow up if we need anything further," the man said, handing me a card. "But for now, thank you for your cooperation." They left. I closed the door, locked it, sat on the floor, and laughed, because they hadn't just blown up my reputation. They'd committed actual fraud. They'd accepted over $10,000 in donations under false pretenses, named me as the reason, and used it to cover personal expenses. And now? Now it wasn't just me holding receipts. That same night, I called Daniel. "It's time," I told him. "We're not just responding anymore. We're acting." He didn't ask questions. He just said, "Let's begin." First, we finalized the lien on the main house, my parents' place. They were 3 months late on repayment. And since all the deposits had come from my account, legally, I could enforce a forced sale. Then we drafted formal notice. Not an email, not a warning. A certified letter from the county clerk, listing the property for auction within 30 days unless full payment was made. And the final touch? A quiet but public notice filed in the local paper. Foreclosure pending on private residence due to unpaid family debt. The next domino was Clara, my sister. We reported the GoFundMe fundraiser ourselves, with evidence, with notarized statements, with bank records showing she never wired a cent to my parents, despite claiming the funds were for family emergency housing. Within 48 hours, the fundraiser was removed. Within 72 hours, her PayPal and Venmo were frozen pending review. By the end of the week, she emailed me. Not to apologize, not to ask for forgiveness, but to beg. "Jude, I messed up, okay? I didn't think it would get this far. I thought you wouldn't care. You were always quiet about stuff. Just, please don't let them come after me legally. I have kids." I didn't reply. because she should have thought of her kids before turning my face into a pity campaign thumbnail. The next domino was Clara, my sister. We reported the GoFundMe fundraiser ourselves, with evidence, with notarized statements, with bank records showing she never wired a cent to my parents, despite claiming the funds were for family emergency housing. Within 48 hours, the fundraiser was removed. Within 72 hours, her PayPal and Venmo were frozen pending review. By the end of the week, she emailed me, not to apologize, not to ask for forgiveness, but to beg. Jude, I messed up, okay? I didn't think it would get this far. I thought you wouldn't care. You were always quiet about stuff. Just, please don't let them come after me legally. I have kids. I didn't reply, because she should have thought of her kids before turning my face into a pity campaign thumbnail. I wasn't done. My parents had one last weapon, the narrative, so I stripped it from them. I wrote my own post. Not an exposé, not a tantrum, just a story. Titled, How I Found Out My Family Used Me as Their ATM, then gaslit the internet when I left. I didn't name names. I didn't use photos. Just the raw truth, step by step, beginning to now. And Reddit responded. Tens of thousands of upvotes. Top post of the week. Supportive comments from people who'd lived the same thing. And then came the part I didn't expect. A journalist reached out. She'd read the post, wanted to do a feature on family financial abuse in the digital age. Said my story echoed a pattern she'd been researching. At first I said no, but then she sent me a detail that made my blood run cold. Your sister filed a formal report claiming you had stolen from them. There it was, the final push. They weren't just trying to survive now. They were trying to flip the narrative legally. That changed everything. We went on the record. The article dropped a week later. The Family Bank, When Generosity Becomes Obligation. It wasn't just about me anymore. It quoted experts on financial gaslighting, legal analysts on family debt, even cited anonymous GoFundMe reps about growing concerns in fake mental health-related fundraisers. My story became the case study. And my family? They lost the one thing they cared more about than money. Control. The day the house auction notice went public, I got a voicemail from my dad. His voice was trembling. Not angry this time. Not barking orders, just hollow. Jude, please, we didn't know it'd go this far. We're gonna lose everything. This is still your family. Please don't destroy us like this. We're your blood. I listened, all the way through. Then I saved the voicemail, because I wanted to remember the sound of reality finally sinking in. Then came the twist, the one I didn't see coming. It was Tuesday morning. I was at the coffee shop, same corner seat, same mug of black coffee. Emma called. Are you sitting down? Why? Clara's husband just filed for divorce. Apparently he found out where all the fundraiser money really went. I blinked. Which was a wellness retreat in Arizona. For herself, spa, yoga, Instagram posts. Jude, she used the donations to fake her own burnout recovery, while claiming you were mentally unstable. I didn't know what to say. She didn't just lie to the internet. She lied to her own husband. And that wasn't all. Emma added one last detail, the voice sharp. He's suing her for full custody, and he's using your Reddit post as evidence of chronic deception and emotional manipulation. I hung up the phone, stepped outside, breathed in cold air that felt cleaner than it had in years. And for the first time, I realized this wasn't revenge. It was consequence. But it wasn't over yet. Because 5 minutes later, I got an email. Subject line, Urgent Family Representative Requests Mediation. And attached, a list of demands, including partial ownership of the lake house, a public retraction of my Reddit post, and a formal apology to protect the family name. I stared at it for a full minute. Then I opened a new tab and typed one sentence. Fine. You want public? Let's go public. The subject line read, Urgent Family Representative Requests Mediation. Attached was a PDF with letterhead that looked like it was drafted by someone with zero legal experience and a PhD in delusion. They wanted partial ownership of the lake house I bought. They demanded I publicly retract my Reddit post. And most laughably, they wanted a formal apology from me to protect the family name. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my laptop, clicked compose, and sent an email to the journalist who covered my story. Ready to go on the record. Name, documents, all of it. Let's talk. She replied within 5 minutes. The article went live the following Monday. Front page, full names. It wasn't just my story anymore. It was theirs, exposed in glaring detail. My sister's fake fundraiser, my father's signed forfeiture of property, screenshots of the group chat titled Strategy Room for Handling Jude, and direct statements from me, Clear, calm, devastating. The article included a legal note from my lawyer confirming that everything I'd paid for was traceable, and that every attempt at emotional equity had no basis in law. The title? The Family That Tried to Inherit a Son Alive. They tried to go on the offensive. My mother posted on Facebook, claiming I was a troubled young man who was twisting the truth for sympathy. It didn't last long, because people began commenting. Not strangers, people from town, from our church, from extended family. Didn't Jude pay off your mortgage last year? Pretty sure I remember him working 3 jobs while you vacationed in Tahoe. You never once mentioned paying him back. The post got flagged, then removed. Then her account quietly disappeared. A week later, the foreclosure auction for my parents' home took place. They didn't even show up. Daniel and I did. I wanted to see it through, wanted to feel it. A young couple with a baby won the bid. They looked over at me, confused, not knowing I was the reason they were able to afford it. I didn't say anything, just smiled, and handed over the final paperwork to the clerk. That was the last debt they owed me, and I collected every cent of it. Clara, my sister, was next. The fraud investigation from GoFundMe had escalated. Turns out someone anonymously submitted a complaint to the IRS. Not me, but let's just say, karma's fast when she has Wi-Fi. She's currently being audited. Her husband left, took the kids, suing for custody. The wellness retreat receipts were subpoenaed. And when I say subpoenaed, I mean he included screenshots from her Instagram in the court file. Spa pics, poolside drinks, hashtags like #healing vibes, #rise and shine queen. Meanwhile, her GoFundMe page was flagged in an official report for misuse of mental health narratives for personal gain. Last I heard, she's working at a local diner and has deleted every social account she ever made. And then there's my dad. After the house was gone and the article went viral, he tried one last tactic. He called a radio station, told his own story, framed himself as a misunderstood father who only wanted his kids to appreciate tradition. But the host had read the article. Live on air, they asked. Did you ever thank your son for paying your mortgage? There was a long pause. Then the host said, "We'll be right back," and cut to commercial. They never aired the rest of his interview. Me? I moved again. Same state, different city. Still cold, still quiet. But now, mine. I opened my own audio studio. Small space, no investors, no family ties. Every piece of equipment paid for with money I didn't owe anyone. And one wall, right above the desk, is blank. Intentionally. It's where I'll hang a single frame document, the group chat screenshot. Specifically the message that said, "He doesn't have anyone else. Just make him think we care and he'll keep paying." Every time I look at it, I remember exactly how far I've come. And before you ask, no, I didn't forgive them. Not because I'm angry. Because forgiveness requires acknowledgement, and none of them ever gave me that. They weren't sorry. They were just exposed. But I'll tell you this. They wanted to protect the family name. So I gave them one. One they'll never outrun.